In the calm of a seemingly ordinary Ohio neighborhood, a darkness was quietly creeping in. The streets were empty, the sun casting long shadows over well-kept lawns and picket fences. Neighbors went about their routines, unaware that behind one unassuming house, something horrifying had occurred. Dr. Mark Reynolds, a respected dentist known for his calm demeanor and dedication to his patients, and his wife, Linda, had been found dead under circumstances that sent shockwaves through the community. The initial call to authorities came from a concerned friend, noticing the eerie silence from the normally active household. The discovery shattered the illusion of safety in this quiet town. Families whispered in disbelief. Children were called inside earlier than usual, and the media descended, drawn by the chilling nature of the crime. How could a crime so brutal happen in a place where doors were rarely locked and neighbors trusted one another implicitly? The scene that awaited the detectives would tell a story of meticulous planning, of violence hidden behind the facade of suburban normalcy. No forced entry, no stolen valuables. Just two lives extinguished, leaving only questions, fear, and a trail of mystery that promised to grip the entire town. This was not the act of a momentary rage. This was calculated, and the search for answers was only beginning. As the sun dipped lower, the shadows lengthened, symbolizing the dark truths that the police would soon have to uncover in this shocking Ohio murder case. The community, once peaceful, now faced an unimaginable nightmare. It was early morning when a friend of the Reynolds family noticed something was wrong. Dr. Reynolds had not opened his dental office that day, and phone calls went unanswered. A growing unease led to a call to the police, and what they found would haunt the town for months. Entering the home, officers were met with a scene of chilling quiet. The lifeless bodies of Mark and Linda Reynolds, lying in a space that only hours before had been filled with warmth and laughter. There were subtle signs that a struggle had occurred, though the house itself appeared untouched in other ways. Nothing seemed stolen. Nothing seemed out of place except the absence of life and the presence of something deeply wrong. The officers took careful steps, methodically processing the scene, noting every detail. Overturned chairs, a broken lamp, a door slightly ajar, a faint smear of blood. As neighbors gathered at the edge of the cordon, whispers spread like wildfire. Some speculated about a botched robbery. Others feared the worst. Every passerby felt the weight of the unknown. Questions swirled through the town. Who could commit such a crime, and why here? The house, once a symbol of ordinary suburban safety, had transformed into a chilling puzzle box that demanded answers. Detectives realized immediately that they were facing a crime that was far from simple, and that solving it would require patience, skill, and insight into the lives of those who had once seemed so ordinary. Each moment, each detail, Each step taken inside the home brought them closer to the truth, yet deeper into the shadow of uncertainty surrounding this murder. Forensic investigators arrived in full protective gear, their white suits contrasting sharply with the subdued colors of the Reynolds' modern home. Every room, every surface, every item was meticulously documented. Photographs were taken from multiple angles, fingerprints were dusted for, and minute traces of evidence were carefully collected. The living room, usually filled with light and laughter, now seemed suffocated under the weight of the investigation. Detectives examined the positioning of the bodies, the angles of impact, and the surrounding environment, trying to reconstruct the events that led to this tragedy. Despite their extensive work, nothing immediately explained the motive. No signs of forced entry, no valuables missing, no clear indicators of a dispute. The silence of the home was deafening, broken only by the click of cameras, the shuffle of paper, and the quiet murmurs of officers exchanging observations. Outside, the town began to react. Neighbors peered cautiously through windows, some whispering theories, some praying the killer was long gone. Inside, detectives pored over every potential clue, tracing phone records, examining email exchanges, and revisiting every known detail about the Reynolds' lives. As the investigation deepened, it became apparent that the killer had intimate knowledge of the home and the routines of its occupants. This realization heightened the sense of dread for investigators and community members alike. The peaceful neighborhood now faced the uncomfortable truth. One of their own could have harbored dark intentions, and the search for justice had only just begun. Within days, the police released surveillance footage capturing a figure near the Reynolds home on the night of the murder. The footage was grainy, the figure shrouded in shadows, yet its movements hinted at familiarity with the property. Investigators were cautious, analyzing every frame for identifying features. Posture, gait, clothing, even subtle habits that could reveal who this person might be. The town watched in collective suspense as the media shared the footage, and theories exploded across social media. The unknown individual became the central focus of the investigation, and while their identity remained a mystery, every action suggested premeditation and knowledge of the couple's routines. Was this a neighbor, an acquaintance, or a complete stranger with sinister intentions? The detectives knew that every detail mattered. A misplaced step, a lingering glance, a single motion of hesitation could break the case wide open. The pressure mounted as the investigation unfolded in public view. Townspeople were both fearful and obsessed with discovering the truth, their everyday lives now overshadowed by suspicion and anxiety. Meanwhile, the detectives painstakingly traced every connection, cross-referencing visitor logs, delivery records, and past interactions. Each lead brought new tension and uncertainty, reminding everyone that the line between safety and danger had been irreversibly blurred. The shadowy figure on the footage was more than a clue. It was a symbol of the town's shattered sense of security and the darkness that had invaded a once trusted neighborhood. The story spread quickly, and the town found itself under an intense media spotlight. News outlets sent reporters with cameras, microphones, and flashing lights to every corner, capturing the growing fear and speculation of residents. Social media amplified the panic, with every post dissected, every theory debated, and every rumor shared widely. The once tranquil streets became filled with the tension of anxious families, curious onlookers, and concerned neighbors. Parents kept children closer. Doors that were always open were now locked, and strangers were met with wary glances. The town's sense of community was replaced by suspicion. Every new face was scrutinized, every noise amplified in the minds of the fearful. Authorities urged calm while urging the public to provide any information that could assist in the investigation. Detectives were inundated with tips, some useful, some wild speculation, but each demanded attention. The relentless media coverage turned the investigation into a national story, highlighting the horror of a calculated murder in a quiet town. In homes and offices, people followed updates closely, struggling to comprehend how such a tragedy could strike without warning. The fear and uncertainty permeated every corner, proving that the impact of crime is not only in the act itself, but in the lasting effect on a community that believed it was safe. What had once been ordinary now carried the weight of unimaginable tragedy, and the town would never look at its streets the same way again. The detectives worked tirelessly, following every lead, no matter how small. Phone records, financial statements, delivery logs, and witness statements were all scrutinized for inconsistencies or hidden clues. Slowly, patterns began to emerge, connections between the Reynolds' recent visitors, people they trusted, and interactions that might reveal a motive. Investigators mapped timelines meticulously, noting who was where and when, comparing each account to surveillance footage and physical evidence. Every detail, no matter how minor, was considered potentially crucial. Analysts pored over emails and social media activity, searching for threats, unusual communications, or signs of obsession. The possibility that someone with intimate knowledge of the couple had orchestrated the crime became increasingly likely. The detectives knew that solving the case required patience and precision, but time was not on their side. Public interest remained high, adding pressure to the investigation, while rumors threatened to distract and mislead. Yet within the chaos, the team worked methodically, piecing together the fragmented story hidden behind the tragedy. Each discovery was a small victory, but also a reminder of the complexity of human motives, the darkness that can exist beneath ordinary lives, and the relentless pursuit required to bring a killer to justice. The shadow of fear and curiosity continued to loom over the town, ensuring that every step forward in the case carried profound significance for both law enforcement and the community.